At the age of 15, you would probably not recognize me. I was really shy. I was not as outspoken. I wasn't as confident. And then I was given this task to interview the prime minister. And without the material, my probation would have been over right on the spot. I took that assignment seriously, and eventually I learned how it works, like to organize like a press meeting
Hmm.
with the officials. I learned the protocols, and so eventually I was able to do it. Like that was probably the longest assignment, like writing assignment ever. So I started like from 8 a.m. to like almost midnight the same day, but I eventually delivered. And that actually, so that assignment kicked off my, say, media career. Yeah, it was because when I was still like a high schooler at the time, so I was studying at the gymnasium, and I pretty much, like, whenever I had an opportunity, I wrote for
Yeah.
that newspaper.
So did you actually interview the prime minister?
And it was actually perfect timing because he was in town and
Hmm.
I was supposed to interview him regarding the topics related to why young people actually are emigrating. So at the time, it was fairly the time when the European Union had the largest wave of expansion. And because of this, more
Yeah.
like more new countries were
Yeah.
added to the bloc. And because of this, like more, and one of the problems of, say, of these countries, like new members, was that young people actually are seeking economic opportunities abroad. And because of this, yeah, like one of the topics that I discussed was, okay, like why it's happening, what can the country do, to bring young people back, and whether there are any prospects for young people to actually come
Yeah.
back. So ironically, I eventually was also like one of them. So it took me like about 5 years, but I eventually also ventured abroad, and I'm glad I did.
I will jump in, right? Because that's it's really because you also mentioned you were quite shy, you were like introverted or whatever when you were younger. Today you have one business, you are starting the second one, and you interviewed the prime minister, right? So was it that interview like that shifted something for you that you like sometimes life happens and you suddenly
Yes.
see a bigger future for yourself, or was it something else? Can you share like Arthur before the interview, Arthur after the interview? How were
Yes.
you different? How did you change?
Funny thing, like actually, I've never looked at it this way, but that's good that you mentioned because I keep on repeating this story. And at the time, it didn't feel like something profound. It felt like something that I was really excited to be working on. I really took it as a challenge, and that was definitely something outside of like my daily routine. And what I learned about journalism as such was that I was always looking forward to the next day because one day I was interviewing the prime minister, the next day I was taking part in the like cyber games
Hmm.
competition. Another day I took a ride on an air balloon. So the day after that I interviewed some of the best musicians out there. And I actually loved that dynamic. It felt like a drug in a way. So at the time I really enjoyed the experience in itself, and I was really on the way. I got fortunate by having mentors like my colleagues who were like 20, 30, 40 years into writing, into media, into journalism. So at the time I was really learning from the best. And I kind of saw how the I saw the good and the bad of the media industry as such.